Okay. Something important you mentioned was write it in your own language. I've seen many
Yes.
people for short notes or things like that. They'll refer to some other third party source, or like there are many PDFs and all that's available, right? Someone else's
Yes.
handwritten notes or something like that. So does that work, or it should which works better, like your own notes or something that is pre-made or already available on the net or something like that?
Definitely something that is made by you, because you are the one who's giving the paper, not the person who
Yeah.
has written it, right?
Yeah.
You can refer to it, you can see that what all they have mentioned, but in the end, if you are the one sitting there for 6 hours and giving the paper, not that person,
Yeah.
you should be the one who's making the
Yeah.
notes and everything, right?
Yeah.
So you, because when you make it, you, first point, you thoroughly go through the chapter. Second point, you yourself end up revising the chapter while making the notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you make the notes. I would say make the notes when you are done with with a sufficient amount of practice of that chapter. Like, just don't just start making notes when the chapter is finished
Yeah.
in your coaching. Do some practice, do some PYQs, do some of your coaching material questions, and then only after you have gained a subsequent amount of grasp on your chapter, then only start making notes, and your own notes. You are the one making it.
Okay. Yeah, because many people think that by referring to third party notes, they're saving a lot of time, but I don't think that's really worth it, as you've
That
mentioned.
doesn't work.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about maths. Actually, in the previous video, I talked with the maths teacher, so I think you can just talk about your basic approach. I don't think we have to go in too much detail for maths. Just tell your basic approach for like any given chapter. What were the sequence of steps you did to cover all the topics?
See, maths for me was a bit, it used to be difficult than physics and chemistry.
Yep.
And that trend is also followed in J also, that
Yeah.
since you're going for engineering, then your maths should be good, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of give the maths questions are kind of on a difficult side, on a tougher side
Hmm.
than
Hmm.
physics and chemistry. So first point, the strategy is that you can maybe score well in physics and chemistry. Even if you score a decent amount of marks in maths, you will get a good percentage, so that's not a
Yeah.
problem. And the second point, how I did maths was, in the end, see, as I said, my 11th was weaker than 12th.
Yeah.
I had especially in maths, I had huge amount of backlogs.
Hmm.
So what I did was, when the portion of 12th was over, don't mess up your 12th by going behind your
Yeah.
11th.
Hmm.
What's done is done now. In 12th, just focus on 12th, like the maths, or
Yeah.
the maths portion and everything. How you will have to, the coaching staff and faculty will tell you to go and revise it. So you can revise 11th in the beginning, like while when you come across chapters like continuity and everything,
Yeah.
area under the curves, they tell
Hmm.
you to go and revise conics and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, for that you can go and revise it. Just make sure that your 11th maths is not that
Important. Huh.
worse. Like, yeah, like you can, at least you can do basic questions, and you are able
Yeah.
to, you know the formulas and everything.
Hmm.
You cannot do advanced level questions, it's okay, no worries. So just make sure that you are able to do basic level 11th mathematics.
Okay.
Then yeah, that's done. Then in 12th, focus on your 12th maths. So what I
Yeah.
did was focusing on 12th mathematics, and then when 12th got over in November,
Yeah.
December, I had, the entire December I had time to do the 11th ka revision.
Yes.
So in Jan I had my attempt, first attempt. So in December I did 11th. So it, like, I didn't know that I would be able to cover everything, but in the end I ended up covering, fortunately. Like, I did have backlogs, but what happens is, after doing 12th now, you like 12th may calculus and everything, matrices, determinants, calculus, mathematics of 12th, from my point of view, is easier than 11th. So you will be able to grasp it more quickly, more better. So just do that, and then after that, when you go back and revise it, you will, like, you'll know ki you will be able to do those questions more properly. Like, in the end, what happens is ki uh, you know all chapters, right? So
Yeah.
entire, when you give full syllabus tests, it's not that you are not giving part like 3 4 chapters ka test at once, because what happens throughout the year is you are asked to give tests of 3 4 chapters at once. Like in coaching they teach you 2 chapters and then they take the test. So it's, but in the full syllabus what happens is they take tests of all chapters, right? So you may be good in one, you may be weak in the other. So it's not that you won't be able to score. Like the ones which you're good in, you will be able to score in that. So just analyze the tests properly. That is all I did. So my maths was like it became good from doing PYQs and those mock tests from my coaching, analyzing the papers thoroughly again and again, and building up my concepts, weak concepts, which I found a bit difficult. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Okay. So now that currently speaking for the current aspirants, JEE session one is over, and I think sessions two is in April, and then after that JEE
Yes.
advanced. So let's just talk about those last couple of months that you have, specifically after your first attempt is over, and then before JEE main session two and all that. So can a person improve in those last 2 or 3 months, because many people sort of give up after their first attempt? They're kind of just like, we screwed up our first attempt, we don't have a lot of time, and they start thinking more about a drop or something like that. So how important is that last couple of months, and what can you do in those last couple of months so that you get a boost in your score? uh, yeah, how can you utilize those last couple of months to the fullest?
See, the last couple of months are very important. I myself ended up scoring more in session 2 than in session 1. See, what happens is first attempt to kharab ho gaya.
Hmm.
What the aspirant thinks is,
Huh.
and then they start preparing for boards. And
Yeah. Hmm.
when the boards get over, within 1 or 2 weeks they
Huh, huh.
have to give their mains. So because of boards, focusing on boards, they just don't focus on second attempt. So but in my case, what I did was I didn't really focus that much on boards. I still
Yeah.
got 95% in boards. It's not a big thing to worry about. uh, See, if you do JE properly, if you study for JE properly in these 2 years or whatever, 4 years, how many years you're preparing for it, if you do it properly, then you won't have any problem in boards. All you have to do is bring 75%. Yes, you have
Yeah.
to bring good for your family's sake and everything. Relatives ko bol diya itne aage utne aage, and you will end up getting it. Just don't do that boards hai, leave everything aside, let's
Huh.
do boards. No.
So now let's talk about the jump in the level of JEE Mains and JEE Advanced is quite different, right? So
Yeah.
when should an aspirant start their JEE Advanced prep? Like, is it something you start from 11th, 12th, or like parallelly to JEE Mains? Or is it more of something after JEE main session one you can entirely focus on JEE Advanced?
See, the entire journey I started in 11th. So 11th and 12th I had 2 years. And for JE Advance, it's since the beginning only you have to go through it. Like
Okay.
JE Advance is an exam which you cannot do it in over,
Hmm.
which you
Hmm.
cannot do overnight. Like
Yeah.
even if the last 6 months, you will be able to do it in the last 6 months only if you have done mains properly and if you have studied
Hmm.
the entire these 2 years properly, studied the course properly. But if you're starting it from scratch, JE Advance is not an exam which you can crack it in 1 month or 2 month course. No, it's an entire process. They just make sure like you have to do the concept. See, as we say ki NCRT you cannot do it like in a night, in 2 3 nights. No,
Yeah.
NCRT over the period of, it's a slow process but it's an effective process, right? This inorganic I meant, inorganic mein JEE mains mein, inorganic you just see the questions and you just tick. But
Yeah.
that capability you have only after reading NCRT thoroughly, right? You don't memorize things just by reading NCRT once or twice.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to keep reading it, keep revising it
Hmm.
again and again. It is a tedious process, but in
Hmm.
the end, as I told you, it's completely worth it.
Yeah, I think I remembered a quote from Usain Bolt. He goes like, "To run 9 seconds, I have to practice over 4 years." So I think it's the
Yes.
same thing with JEE Advance. And JEE mains as well, that you have to dedicate whatever time you have, you have to dedicate it properly. So I
Yes.
think that is all for today. Do you have anything you just want to say on a personal note to the aspirants currently watching this video? Any sort of advice or anything, if you want to say, you can just tell the audience
Um,
if there's anything.
See, yeah, maybe. See, I myself didn't really think ki I will be able to do it. When I started my journey, all I thought was कि अगर मेंस भी clear हो जाए तो काफी बड़ी बात है. I'll go in some NIT, I'll do it. Or even if I get any IIT, it is okay for
Yeah.
me. See, for from thinking from there to getting into IIT Bombay, that is the journey I went through in these 2 years. So that is totally worth it. As I said, ki even if you have backlogs, no problem. You will be able to do it. मेरे खुद के backlogs थे 11th में बहुत ज़्यादा. I did it when my 12th got over in the
Hmm.
last 6-7 months, which I had before J
Yeah.
advance. So it's okay if you have backlogs. You will be able to cover it. But just that, do it sincerely. It's not कि अभी हो नहीं रहा छोड़ देते हैं
Hmm.
15-20 days के लिए.
Huh.
You just left JE and for 15 to 20
Hmm.
days and you started doing boards and everything. It's
Hmm.
not that these entire 2 years you have to study properly. You can't let those gaps in between, because then you will forget everything. Then you have to revise, and revising the previous one will lead to
Hmm.
you like missing all the current topics which you're
Yeah.
like. Yeah, so that's the thing, that you don't have to miss everything. 2 years की journey hai. I know it's a bit tedious, and it does require a lot of commitment and
Huh.
everything, but hard work and everything.
Yeah.
But then in the end जब वो result आता है आपका, the look on your parents face and everything, the respect you get in the public and everywhere
Hmm.
wherever you go. For me, it's either school, coaching, everywhere.
Yeah.
That's on a different level, and that makes every day, it makes me realize that everything was worth it. Like those 6 months I spent, the last 6 months I spent, it is stressful, I know. बोलना आसान है, करना मुश्किल है. I
Hmm.
myself have gone through it, right? So it is stressful, but the day your result will come and the day you will be allotted with your college, you will, like, after that you will, like, every day you will remember that this was the day which changed my life, and this was the day for which I worked hard, and now I'm living the life which I once dreamt of. So everything is totally worth it. Just go for it.
Okay. So thank you so much, Anjali. I think it was a great session, especially for female candidates and as well as male candidates. But it was just
Yeah.
overall a great session. I think whoever's viewing it will probably gain some good insights. So thank you so much.